Well, welcome everybody to another installment of Meeting Spectrum, starting your career in tech. Thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I actually had to look at the clock to see what time it is, but of course it's the evening. You're joining us for a fantastic presentation. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to give you a chance to get a glimpse into how tech career and internship at Spectrum can contribute to your professional growth and how our technology team works together to support our customers. The process and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having an engaged conversation with our panelists. We're going to be asking some questions and allowing them to tell their stories, their backgrounds, how they each got to here at Spectrum. And we're also going to allow some time at the very end for you to ask some questions to us and get that engaged conversation going as well. But before we're going to jump into that panelist discussion, I do have a brief PowerPoint. Not going to take all of your day, I promise, just so that we can share a little bit more about interning at Spectrum. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that I can pull this up. Just a bit about my background. My name is Alex Cunningham, university recruiter. I do work in the Denver, Colorado office on the university team, so I do help recruit for our Spectrum 2020 summer internship program, involved with a lot of recent graduates getting introduced to Spectrum as well. But I've been with Spectrum for about 3.5 years now, only working with our internship program. And I love it. I think it's the best position I've ever been in. But I mean, they're not paying me any extra to tell you that. So let me tell you a bit more about the internships you can see if you want to join us as well. Also, how you're going to be able to apply to this internship. But internship and the dates of the program, we are looking to have a program that's going to be providing current students with the exposure to real life business settings. This is also going to be giving them the opportunities to learn about our industry. We're going to be providing an atmosphere that it's intended to broaden an entry-level candidate's professional understanding while promoting self-confidence, accomplishment, and career development. Interns will be assigned a manager and a mentor for the duration of our internship program. So this is meant to be a very immersive experience, meant to not be a copy running, not meant to make copies for these managers type of internship. It's not a basic role. We're meant to treat you as kind of a junior level full-time professional. But what this program is going to be broken down into. It's going to be broken down into two components. We first have our department-focused responsibilities, and then we are going to have our professional development. The department-focused responsibilities are going to be around 80% of our internship, and that's going to be your team contribution. That's going to be manager and mentor-led. What you're going to be doing on this side is going to be meaningful work in projects. You're going to be working on projects that are working directly related to your job title, your degree, the background experience that you're hopefully learning in school right now, and then hopefully graduate with that experience to then apply for a full-time role. Internship also does have professional development that we are going to kick off on June 1st. That's going to be about 20% of our internship. That's going to include executive speakers that we're having join us. We're going to be doing a community service event. We celebrate National Intern Day as well, professional development sessions for helpful professional topics. And then we're going to round off our program with a final graduation hackathon type event. This is going to include a cross-functional group project where you're going to have a chance to work around other interns in other business units. So that networking piece is definitely going to be a huge portion of our internship. This is going to be 320 hours across 10 weeks for our 80% contribution for department-focused responsibilities, and about 80% for the 80% for the professional development for, once again, 20% of the internship. What and where we're recruiting. So on the left side of your screen, you're going to see some of the locations where we're having these roles posted. And we do have these roles posted online right now. And just stay tuned. I promise I'm going to get to the screen where it says how to apply to these roles. But also feel free to follow up with me post conversation, so that send me your LinkedIn, send me your email so that I know to follow up with you for our internship roles. But I believe we are going to reach out to you directly. Just on the left side of your screen, we have a few of our locations. We have Denver, we have St. Louis, we have Charlotte, we have Stanford. Those are going to be our corporate locations. And then we have New York City and Austin, Texas. Those are going to be our enterprise locations. We do have most of our engineering roles in Denver and Charlotte. Most of our IT positions are going to be in St. Louis and Charlotte as well. Stanford is going to be where our marketing and legal finance team sits as well. New York City and Austin, smaller locations. It's going to be our enterprise locations, but I do believe we still have opportunities in both of those locations if you're interested. But what is it actually going to be taking? What's it going to take to be an intern this year? What are the qualifications? Here's our selection criteria. You must be a rising junior or above, a senior or a first-year master's student at an accredited four-year college or university. You must have a 3.0 GPA or higher. You must have authorization to work in the United States without restrictions or need for future sponsorship. Your desired degree will vary by the internship position on what role that you're going to be applying for. Some have a little bit more strict requirements on the software and technology that they're looking for in their intern, as well as the types of degree. Some are a little bit more of an open position with a flexible skill set. But we're also going to be looking at specific technical requirements that, once again, may also vary by internship position. Recruiting timeline. What this is looking like from now until when we're done recruiting at the end of April, and then when the internship actually starts at the beginning of June. We are taking applications now. So like I mentioned, we do have roles posted online currently. We have a ton of open positions. We're interviewing now, meaning that we're screening applicants. The first step in our application process is to send you a video introduction. And as you can see on the next step right there, we're going to be doing career fairs, info sessions, workshops similar to this so that we can get introduced to you, the students. You can get introduced to us, the recruiters and the employees over here at Spectrum. Then we're going to send you the on-demand video introduction. I promise it's not that scary. It's only 30 minutes to complete as well. It's going to be done before you know it. But we use those as like an interview before an interview to meet you or have you meet the manager on kind of a virtual level, introduce you that way, along with your resume. After these interviews with myself or someone on my team, we're going to send you over to the hiring manager. They're going to review your resume, hopefully request that technical interview, knock out what the day-to-day duties are, the projects, software, technology, the specifics of the position so you know if it's a good fit for you. And then afterwards, we're going to have all of our offers done and out and accepted by the end of March. Now, what this means is we're starting our background checks after April 1st of this year. So we have that sharp deadline to get everything done by then. Most likely, we're going to have these roles filled far in advance of that. So if you're interested in applying for an internship role now, I would apply now. Get in touch with me now. Make sure you send your contact information over to me now. Do it now is what I'm trying to say. We're going to be starting the internship June 1st. University Relations team is going to host some Q&A sessions, more about our internship prior to the internship, and then everything's going to start June 1st, and we're going to run into that 10-week program. Now, I am excited to announce that we were actually selected in WayUp's top 100 internships program list for 2021. Now, what this means that we are proud to be an internship program winner. So we are one of WayUp's top 100 internship programs for 2021. This award was voted on by a panel of industry expert judges and thousands of public votes. So I do hope that you research our positions, look up the reviews, look up the videos of our past interns as well, and judge for yourself. This is going to be a good program for you. But let's hear a little bit more from our panelists. Let me go ahead and introduce them briefly, and then I'll show you how to apply to these roles. We have Shashi Shamaro. I'm so sorry. I totally butchered that. I was practicing it. Shashi, you're going to have to forgive me on that one. Rocky Garcia. We have Benjamin Womack. Akshatha Krishnamurthy. Shashi is our VP of Video Operations. Rocky is our Director of Data Insights. Ben is our Associate Business Systems Analyst. And Akshatha is a Software Engineering Associate. These four panelists are going to be joining us today, and we're going to be asking them some hard, gritty, in-depth questions, mostly just about their experience, what they think about the internship program, some helpful professional topics as well. And then once again, we're going to run into some QA at the very end. So welcome, panelists. I'll give you an introduction just a moment. I promise I'm not teasing it too much, but how are we actually going to apply to this internship? Applying for the internships is very easy. jobs.spectrum.com/university-and-early-career, lots of dashes in there, but you want to apply at that link at the top right there now. Applying for full-time roles, very similar, jobs.spectrum.com. University@charter.com. We're meant to be a resource for you. So let us know what questions you have. Reach out to us with, if you've applied to a role so that we can follow up with it. Reach out to our LinkedIn's as well. Mine's very easy to find. Alex Cunningham, Spectrum, search me up, send me a LinkedIn request. Let me know you met me at this event. If you've applied to a role, I'll make sure I guide you to the right place. If it's not my position, of course. But very easy to apply to these positions. All we're going to have you do is apply to the role, get the video introduction completed, then we're going to run into the technical round, which is going to be with the hiring managers. All this we're doing now. So just make sure you jump on this if you're interested. All right, panelists, are you there? Can you turn on your videos? Oh, thank goodness, I'm not the only one here. I'm not talking to myself. Well, thank you everybody for joining. I very much appreciate your time today. What we're going to start off with is, first, we're going to go over your name, the length of time working here at Spectrum, your current role, your title, your business unit, what you're responsible for in your actual position. And why did you join Spectrum? And what keeps you here? And don't worry, I'll repeat all this before I actually jump into you. But Shashi, once again, if you can introduce yourself, go over your name, length of time working here at Spectrum, current role, title, and business unit, and why did you join Spectrum and what keeps you here?
Sure, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining this event. I'm really happy to be here and excited to answer the questions. So hopefully I can get to meet you here working at Spectrum and looking forward to that. So my name is Shashi Shamarao. I've been working with Spectrum since 2013. I'm working as Vice President at Video Operations, which is part of Network Operations, a business unit at Spectrum. I manage the operations of our video applications called Spectrum TV app. This is an IP-based application that runs on multiple devices, such as mobile device, laptops, smart TVs, and connected devices like Roku, Xbox, Apple TV, and all. If you are in a region where we have our services, you should download and try to see how it works for you. I oversee the team, which is responsible for building, managing production platforms and applications, delivering the content over IP, and finally, last not but the least, we are also handling the customer issues. So coming to the question, why did I join Spectrum and what keeps me here? So that's an interesting story. I'd like to share. It's a small, funny story, but I'm sure it will make you smile. So when my parents first bought the TV set for our house, I was very young and I was pretty fascinated to see people moving around, talking, singing, all in the small box. I always wondered, how does this all happen? And one day, to my parents' surprise, I just opened the TV set to see where this is all happening, and only to find out that TV had lots of wires, chips, and cathode ray tube. It's a gigantic cathode ray tube. So my curiosity, started growing, and I started exploring and reading books to solve this mystery. So at some point of time, I figured out, the radio waves makes a big difference. They carry signals, and the antennas which capture them, converts them, and shows us the images. But then only to, when I went to engineering school and started learning about telecommunications, I found out actually how television works, and I was able to actually connect the dots. So learning this helped me really decide my career and paved a path to pursue and grow my career in the television field. So when I received lots of offers after, to work at the end of my college days, it was all mostly related to building software applications and, testing and other thing. But because of my passion, I was always yearning for an opportunity to work in television and cable companies. So when I got that opportunity at Spectrum, I was really overjoyed, thrilled, and I took that, the opportunity and put it into complete use. So that's how I ended up at Spectrum. So what keeps me here? That's also an interesting question. So good thing about working at Spectrum is, it offers so many opportunities. Trust me, you have the ability to navigate your career. Spectrum provides so many services. We are in so many different fields: video, internet, voice, Wi-Fi, and mobile services. We also offer a wide range of job opportunities, like you can work in product and program management, data analysis, engineering, software application development, financial management, and so on. So you can figure out, what interests you most and what your major is today and what you want to be in future, and you can decide the right thing for your career. If you look at my journey alone, I started as an engineer and I was very passionate. I always wanted to be an engineer, but then I changed my direction and went into management position, and I tried multiple things like release management, environment management, so many things. Then finally I ended up coming into operations, and I've been with operations for almost three plus years now, and I really enjoy. So, you can really find lots of opportunities at Spectrum. You can figure out what you want to do and where you want to, and it's very flexible. It helps you wherever you want to be, and you can shine your best skills in whatever the area you like to be in. So that's really what keeps me motivated to work at Spectrum. And of course, Spectrum has lots of talented people. You can always learn. Even now, today, I keep learning from so many engineers who are talented, better than me. They have lot more knowledge, and I just keep continue to grow. So I love it here. I'm sure you will also love it. And I can just tell you that you will never have a bored time here at Spectrum for sure. So if you're interested, please apply, and we'll be happy to work with you.
All right, I think we can wrap the presentation up here. That was like a perfect answer. Thank you for the enthusiasm there. That was perfect. And you even told them how to apply for our rules. So I don't know, everybody following up that answer. You got some tough shoes to fill, but thank you so much for joining us here on the presentation. And I like how you've had not quite the linear journey through our charter, but it has gone through different directions, starting in engineering and then ending up in operations. So, I mean, that's honestly what we're looking for a lot of our employees, is that growth, but we all have different paths that we're going to be going down. But you have a very interesting path that you've got here, and I'm glad that you're here. So thank you for joining us. Rocky, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself as well. So name, length of time working at Spectrum, your current role, title, and business unit, and then why did you join Spectrum, and then what keeps you here?
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here, and I hope to meet some of you guys soon. My name is Rocky Garcia, and I am actually a director at leading the video data insights team within the product and technology organization. I'm actually going to switch this around a bit. What I do and what I lead is basically utilize data to go back to teams like Sashi and the product group to robust our product. We provide insights on how the product is working, how the customers are utilizing, basically an endless number of metrics. How long have I been here? I've been here for 10 years, technically. I started off as a contractor for 4 years, and then transitioned over to a full-time employee. I started off because as a contractor, there was this big project on big data. And at that time, after graduating college, it was a big hype. And I said, I want to be at the, leading and being part of the latest and greatest technology. I did that for 4 years as a contractor, started off within the video space, doing big data, then moved over to other areas. At that time, it was Time Warner Cable. Went to Herndon, Virginia, and started off big data in the wireless and the network side. And then I was a little curious to see if telecommunications was the thing for me long-term. And I actually stepped out of Charter Time Warner for 6 months. And I realized I loved cable, and I couldn't get away. And so I came back, and I started off as an FTE. I think similar to Sashi, it's the opportunities that Charter provides. There's never a day that's exactly the same that keeps me here. I'm constantly challenged. I am constantly growing. I have people to look up to. Sashi is actually a partner. And so it's great to always be constantly growing, and I'm never ever bored. So I hope to see you guys soon. It's a great company to work for. And yeah.
Right. Sounds great. Well, thank you for joining us as well. And we do have some questions geared directly towards you and Sashi. So I believe we'll kind of have like a tandem effort over here. So thank you very much for joining the conversation. Ben, I'd like to walk over to you as walk. Why don't I say walk? If we can transition over to you as well. If you could introduce yourself, your name, length of time working here at Spectrum, current title, business unit, and why did you join Spectrum? And once again, what keeps you here?
Definitely. Thanks for the introduction. I'm glad everyone could make it today and spend their time today on this session. Going to be a lot of valuable information that you're not going to want to miss. A little bit about me. My name's Ben. I've actually been at Charter now for 11 months. So I'm actually haven't been here for too long. I'm actually a two-time intern, so returning intern, and then converted to a full-time role within the same team all of the times I've worked here. A little bit about what I do. I'm actually an IT application engineer, which my role displayed through the company is a systems analyst, which I am. I focus on a tool called Clarity within our product and technology organization. And what Clarity focuses on is the project management organization throughout Charter. Some of the project managers that control all of their resources, monitor their projects, update financial information such as work orders for contractors. We pretty much govern the whole gist of that information. So I've been dealing a ton of time on that. And why did I join the company? So that's a good question. For me, honestly, it was the location. I'm actually only 25 minutes from the Maryland Heights office. And it was just a great opportunity for an internship. There's a ton of great benefits. It's a great paid internship. It's a great resume booster and a great career opportunity down the road. I mean, looking at some statistics that have been shared with me, and I think that might be shared later through the internship program or from other resources. A lot of people stay here for a long time, so it's a great way to build a career. What keeps me here is those statistics, of course, the opportunities that are available, as everyone mentioned, and the company culture. I really love the people I work with, and I feel like if you love what you do and who you work with, you don't work a day in your life. So that's pretty much all I got there.
All right, throwing out the cliche of the year. I'm just kidding, buddy. I gotta say, I agree with you 100%, though. It is the people that's really kept me here, though. It's the people, it's the job. I don't feel like I'm waking up on a Monday morning and then going into work necessarily. I know I have work to do. I mean, we all have work to do on Mondays, but I do feel like this is something that, like a career, I feel like I'm a professional here and we're valued. You know, it's a big company. Like you said, it's a great resume booster. Spectrum is very well known across the US. We're in 41 different states, I believe. We have a lot of employees, 95,000 employees that we're working with right now, 30 million plus customers. So we're big. It's great for your resume. It's a great place to start your career. It's a great place to stay at your career as well. I mean, people don't really want to leave here. I feel like we have a solid culture, builds team members pretty quickly. And it's kind of like a family environment. Even if you're not looking for a family, you're just going to get sucked into one. But thank you very much, Ben, for joining us. And Akshatha, sorry to keep you in the dark over there. If we can go over to you as well. If you could explain a little bit about your role, your name and length of time working at Spectrum. Ooh, how did I forget that? Your current role, your title, your business unit, and what you're working on currently. And then why did you join Spectrum and what keeps you here?
Yeah. So hello, everyone. I'm excited to be part of this call and share a lot of information that I learned throughout my time at Spectrum. So I am Akshita Krishnamurthy. I joined Spectrum as part of the internship last summer. I've been here for 8 months. Like part of it was the internship, part of this was part-time work during my final semester at Mines. And I joined as a full-time software engineering associate in January. And so basically I work for a team called Emerging Tech, which is part of the product and technology group. And this team is basically looks into all the emerging technologies that a student can explore. And basically I am involved in a project which looks into machine learning. And there are also people in my team who work on augmented reality and virtual reality and the opportunities that Spectrum has in those fields. And so I basically am very happy to be part of my team because I joined the internship because I was a machine learning intern, and that was a field of interest for me throughout my master's, and I was really happy to get an internship in that particular field. And I got the opportunity to work under a great manager, and I had a great mentor to guide me throughout the internship. And I learned a lot during my internship, and I was able to get some really good results towards the end of it. And that's why that kind of motivated me to do more, give more to the team. And that's why I returned as a full-time employee. So I hope that the internship, people here can be part of the internship program and get more out of it and also find their way into Spectrum.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. And I mean, Akshatha, Ben, they are shining examples of what the internship can lead you to, which is a full-time role. I mean, a job, everybody wants a job, but they're here, they converted, they liked what they were doing. They liked their team enough to stick around for a little bit longer anyways, but we're glad that we have them on our team. They are examples of what our internship can lead to. And typically we look for around 35% conversion on our internship every single year. But I mean, doesn't mean that we can't go higher than that. Goal is to get that early talent into Spectrum, the recent graduate talent, so that we can keep growing and keep advancing in our careers, like Shashi mentioned earlier. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for the wonderful introductions. I think we set a good tone for this presentation coming up. But I do have some panel questions that I like to jump into as well. And then what I'm going to start with is a question geared towards pretty much everybody. And I might cycle through you one by one. I might switch up the order a bit, but then I'm going to go into more individual questions as well. So to stay on your toes right now, I could ask you a question at any time. Just hit the buzzer when you're ready to respond. Just kidding, no buzzer. But we're going to start with this. Could you give us a glimpse into life as a technology professional here at Spectrum? So what is it like to work in your specific business unit? If you could share some of the exciting projects that you're working on and how they're making an impact. Rocky, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'll pick a quick area video. So all of you guys are familiar with like your Netflix app video application. Spectrum has something similar. It's called STVA. And I primarily create metrics around this product that understand what is the customer experience. So as the customers are experiencing buffering, are you guys seeing a delay when you start up the application? Are you having issues watching potentially football versus, I don't know, cartoons? Where my team and my day-to-day is to identify the behaviors of the app. And then report those out to our different stakeholders. Our stakeholders can be marketing, it can be operations to fix issues, it can be the product. Do we need to make optimizations, for instance, on our client, on your Roku, on your iPhone app? So that's basically a day-to-day is reviewing metrics from what our customers are experiencing, and then go out to our peers to identify if there's areas of optimization.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much for sharing about that project.
Yeah.
And Ben, can you share us a little bit more about your position? So like a glimpse into life of your team and what your team is going to be doing, or what your team is doing now currently. What it's like to work in your business unit, and then maybe an example of a project that you're working on.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So for my team directly, we're kind of a niche tool within the company. We have about 12 people on our team total. And what we do and what we function as is kind of a support for a big chunk of the company. I touched on earlier how Clarity supports a portion of the project management organization. And for those of you who don't know what Clarity is, it's similar to Smartsheet or another tool that's used to track information and also can track charts, and just something that you would use as like a WBS structure in class for a project, except it's a lot more advanced with time reporting, projects, resources, lots of money. Another area of items that we do weekly and periodically is reporting to leadership. We use a tool called JasperSoft that's connected to Clarity, and we create custom reports and set schedules to send those reports to leadership throughout the company. So those actually go out to vice presidents within the company. They go out to EVPs within the company. And they just report on, usually they're called one-pagers, and they give a snapshot of how projects are doing throughout the company. So that's a big area of what we focus on. Another area of what we focus on is sometimes daily audits. We focus on auditing throughout the company, the information I talked on, projects, money, work order information, making sure people are getting paid and accurately for what they put towards a project. So there's that one big project that we're currently focused on. So within our organization, the strategy, which is within product and technology, which I'm in, we're having a big kind of like organizational restructure, which with a company of this size, it's pretty frequent, it seems. We have a new head, Jake Perlman, and he is bringing in the idea of portfolios within Clarity, which is a new design, kind of like the one pager I touched on. It's going to be new reporting, lots of new stuff to build within our tool, a lot of new people to add, new people to remove, and then some more custom reports being built for the portfolios. And what a portfolio is, it's kind of hard to describe without sharing a screen, but it's just a end-to-end snapshot of a project from life to end, pretty much. And that's about it.
All right, that's a great explanation. I am going to follow up with you in a bit for another question on more of what we're looking at in the future on that end, if that makes sense. But that was a great explanation on what you're currently working on. I don't know too much about that software myself, goes right over my head, but I'm sure that someone on this call was like, you know what, I'm working right on that. I might be interested in learning more about that kind of project or internship or full-time, something in the future around that end. Akshata, I'd like to go over to you as well. So can you give us a little bit of how about your role? So what you're working on, your team, projects that you're working on, something that's making an impact as well, but what's the typical life for you in your role as a software engineer?
Sure, Alex. So I actually am really excited to be a part of the emerging tech team, because my team basically looks at all the new technologies and I get to actually work on them. So it's kind of exciting. And I myself am working, as I said before, on machine learning. And one particular project that I'm working on currently is a project called Application Flow Signature, which basically uses machine learning to kind of identify the traffic without actually looking into the packet. So it's kind of like, it sees the shape of the traffic and identifies the type of traffic. Like, are you doing a video conferencing? Are you streaming some video, or are you doing some real-time streaming or doing something like that? And it kind of is useful in the way that you can do differential quality of service, like provide better quality for video and stuff like that when you detect such traffic. And also probably provide better parental controls, like if you can find out that your kid is kind of streaming some things, and you can probably stop the streaming or something like that. So it's a useful thing. And my team also is looking into augmented reality, virtual reality, which is also very exciting. So they also work on optimizing the rendering for the AR/VR headsets, which is interesting. And I would like to be part of that too, if possible. So yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Well, that is extremely exciting. If you need someone to like take some notes for you to maybe get a free headset, I'm your guy. You know, I'll totally join you on that end. But wow, that's some really big stuff. I don't think people really know that Spectrum works on things like that, like augmented reality. So I'm really glad that you joined this conversation here, because that's probably a new topic that people didn't think that telecom or even this industry even works on. But that's pretty fantastic.
Exactly.
I'm sure you're probably going to get some people following up with you on your projects, and I might be following up with you on what this is going to look like in the upcoming future. But thank you for sharing about that. Really appreciate it. And Shashi, don't think I forgot about you back there. If you can tell us about your role, what is it like for a technology professional in your position? So what is your business unit working on? Any exciting projects or anything that you could share with this group today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So my team is, as I said, like I work in operations. My team is responsible for several things. We basically manage our signature application, you can call it. It's called Spectrum TV app, STVA. So it is, it runs on so many different platforms. So we have to support managing and, all of our platforms, and also making sure the streaming is happening accurately. So there are several things we do. We work closely with all our partners at engineering, and then we kind of make that available to our customers. So being in operation, it's a lot of responsibility. We need to make sure the applications are available all the time. They are stable. Customers are not getting, bad experience. We don't want to hear complaints from customers when things go wrong, especially like, major events like playoffs or Super Bowls. Pretty much everybody gets mad when their video experience is not good, right? So we need to make sure, we need to be on top of things to ensure our infrastructure is running as expected, applications are performing, and whenever we see a growth in our product, we need to make sure how we can augment and provide capacity so that people don't have bad experience. So on a day-to-day basis, most of our engineers work closely with engineering teams, and try to get software releases or any kind of platform builds and identify issues wherever we have. And especially we work closely with Raki's team because they provide the metrics. So we look at those metrics to see, how we are performing, what areas requires improvement, what areas had challenges, and what happened, why did it happen, and what can we learn from it, and how can we make things better so that it doesn't happen again. So these are all the things that usually an engineer does in our business unit. So we are working on several projects this year. Most of our projects are centered around basically building resiliency. We want to make sure, there is no manual intervention when things go wrong. We want it to automatically self-heal and work as expected. So those are all like big challenges that we are trying to work on to make everything self-healing, resilient, robust applications so that people don't have to stay up all night supporting it.
Nobody wants to stay up all night supporting anything. I don't know. I don't know about everybody on the call here, but I'd say that's pretty much the ultimate goal is the customer's experience. We want to make sure everything is running smoothly, or at least you think it's running smoothly, because on the back end, everybody's working furiously hard, such as Sashi. So we appreciate that you shared a little bit more about your project and your assignment, or not your assignment, your business unit, excuse me. Okay, so I do want to pivot a little bit backwards towards technology and innovation. So Ben, I know you're waiting for this question. You've just been dying. You're all shaking. So how is Spectrum driving innovation and standing out in a technological competitive marketplace?
Yeah, I think a big thing that comes from that question, and a lot of it probably wouldn't be on my team since I'm more of a support role, but it's just the people working on the front end, designing our new routers, new Wi-Fi equipment, expanding our outreach and equipment, and making it more widely available and quicker. That's always the thing people talk about: faster speeds, lower connection drops, and as Saucy was saying, we want to try to cut the drops of connection as low as possible. So from a support side of things, on my end, we really help those individuals working on those projects really get what they need and make sure they have it when it's ready to go, so we can get that to our customers faster. I think a big way that the company overall as Spectrum is switching to kind of adapt to more of a environment is really focusing on its cable offerings. I know there's been a ton of improvements in the app lately, and it's just seems like it's always improving with new on-demand shows. There's actually Spectrum Originals now. I know our Wi-Fi has continuously been improving as far as quality goes, increased speeds go. Looks like we even offer gigabit internet now in various areas. So, just trying to compete with our competitors by offering the best and highest quality for an affordable price, I think.
Yeah.
And just supporting that overall mission and goal.
Sure, totally. Everybody wants things done fast, that's for sure. I hate it when I have to microwave something and it takes over 2 minutes. I'm almost like, I'm just going to starve. I'm not going to eat it. But I'd say everything getting done quicker. I don't know if everybody remembers the dial-up days where we had to listen to that modem, 15, 20 minutes later, maybe your internet started, maybe it didn't, you never know. But those kind of things have been greatly improved, if not eliminated, by people like Ben in their positions and what we're working on as a cable and telecommunications industry. So that's huge, that what you're working on, especially the speeds as well. And then I recently learned in this last year that Spectrum had the fastest 5G connectivity for mobile services. I don't know if you knew that. Is that true still? But that's huge. I mean, my phone, I rely on that to play video games, to stream movies, to talk to people if I had people to talk to. So I think that the speed that we're getting into, the innovation, the technology, I think we're right there in the forefront of that as well. But thank you very much for being a part of that and joining this team recently as a full-time employee. So
thanks.
Back towards Shashi and Rocky. They're working on their teamship. They're working together for a lot of their work. And if I can simplify this down, we know that product and technology designs it and net operations operates it. Could you share with the students what this means on a day-to-day basis or on a project-to-project basis? And Shashi, we'll start with you, and then Rocky will have you follow as well.
Sure. I think it will be better if Rocky starts, because we are the people at the end of the line. So we basically consume whatever the product and technology provides, and then we kind of deploys and manages it. So I'll let Rocky go first.
Thank you, Sashi. Yeah, just to piggyback on what Sashi said, first and foremost, product and technology's main purpose is to create the most competitive products and deliver highly rated customer experiences. So in other words, we're basically, or how I see it is, we're basically the brain of the company. We're responsible for business development, business planning, software development, connectivity, and along with all of those different departments, we're responsible for researching, designing, implementing, and figuring out what that roadmap of each product is and how the customers are going to adopt to it. Once we basically have an idea of what the next feature will be, what the cost is going to be, how it's going to look like, and then the actual implementation, that's when we hand off to NetOps or Sashi to actually roll it out to our customers. And I think, Ben, you're part of our product and technology group as well. So you guys can hear he's working on reports. He's working on making our team work together cohesively, while I'm working on a data portion that fits into the big picture of the company. I hope that kind of makes sense into what product and technology is. I'll hand it off to you, Sashi.
Yeah, thanks, Rocky. So what we do is, as Rocky mentioned, the product and technology teams develops several applications. Like we have video application running on our set-top boxes, on our mobile devices. We have Spectrum Mobile, we have Wi-Fi and all those things. So operations, network operations is basically taking all of those things and making it available to customers. That's in a very simplified manner to say. So we are like end consumers. We work closely with all of the product and technology teams. We are pretty much involved from the beginning, because ultimately once it's handed off to operations, we are the one who are running in operations. So we need to know how the application works, what type of things it can create, and what type of challenges we can come across, and how do we support the growth, constant growth that we are seeing at Spectrum. So all of these are important factors. So we work closely with them from the time they start, even inception period, when they start getting the idea and start materializing it and building the plan of how they are going to architect, develop, and get this all deployed in production. So we are working closely with them, pretty much in line with everything that's going on. And we take all of the builds and then we build the platforms and in production, basically, like whether it is in cloud or in data centers, we build the whole infrastructure and platform where we can host these applications and run them. And we provide all the monitoring capabilities, so we know when things are going well, when things are breaking, so we can take actions to help our customers get their experience back. And we also, as I said, we take the metrics from Rocky's team, we measure and see, what are the improvements area that we need to focus on, and we constantly thrive to work on those solutions so that we can provide the best of best experience to our customers. So in general, operations are like very close to customers. We hear what customers are having the issues with, and we try to address them. Whether it is single customer or multiple customers, operation kind of comes into the picture of, understanding what customers are going through, what do they expect, what they want to see, and then we kind of provide the feedback back to the product and technology teams as well.
Yeah, so I would say we don't really design by ourselves. That wouldn't be very successful if we didn't bring in NetOps into the picture, but we are a big partner, despite that we're in two different organizations.
All right. Well, I'm going to say it. Teamwork makes the dream work. I know everybody was waiting for that, but thank you so much for that explanation. I actually understood that pretty well, and you broke it down fairly easily for me. So thank you for sharing your experience on that, both of you. And I'm actually looking at the time, and this just flew by. So I've had a wonderful experience so far with all of our panelists and asking you questions. We're going to run into some Q&A in just a second, but I do want to ask everybody one final question. And if you can make this 1, 2 sentences, 1, 2 words, 3 words, just brief is what I'm getting at. What is one final piece of advice that you would leave for participants on this call today? Ben, we'll start with you since you're smiling.
So going back to what you said earlier, don't delay, apply today. As you know, Alex was saying, there's a ton of great open positions available within the company. It's a great company to work for. So I encourage you all to apply or apply to another company of something you're interested in. Never should be afraid to take your shot. So good luck.
Rocky?
Yeah, I would say just don't let fear stop you from taking that jump. You never know what that jump is going to take you to. So I hope to see you guys apply. And if it's not us, just take that leap and don't be scared.
Right. Shashi?
I would just say be flexible and be open to any opportunities you get. You never know what you like. So be flexible, be open-minded. So you can always figure out what you ultimately like.
All right. And Akshata?
I would like to say that don't be afraid to learn new things, be open, try to apply to whatever interests you. If you don't find something of interest, try to see potential in a role and see where it can get you in the long run. That's it.
All right. Fantastic advice. Thank you, panelists, for joining us today. Let's run right into Q&A so that we can answer some of these questions before the time runs out. So let's go ahead, and if we have anybody that's brave enough to come on live and ask their question, we would love to hear from you. We're going to try to speed through these as quick as possible so that we can answer as many questions. But is there anybody that we can bring off or bring in live?
Looks like we have a couple actually.
Okay.
So Darius, we're going to start with you. Just hold tight.
So earlier we were talking about how one of the projects was monitoring packets and whatnot. I was wondering if we could get a little more elaboration on what kind of tools you're using for that and what you think the outcomes are near term.
Yeah, so basically what we are trying to do is currently, I think when you want to see what traffic it is, there are deep packet inspection based methods. If you know what that is basically we have to look at the whole contents of the packets and see what is inside to understand what traffic it is. What we are trying to do is try to do a privacy preserving approach for this, and we are not looking into the packet, basically trying to see the shape of the traffic. Like for example, upstream traffic has more traffic going up, downstream traffic has more traffic coming down. So the shape differs. So we're trying to see the patterns in this shape and using machine learning techniques to identify those and identify traffic of each type.
You were alluding to, I think, some of the benefits that you think are going to come out of that. Can you talk a little bit more about what you think the near term?
Yeah. So basically, this is the main point of this is probably to give more quality of service to more intensive, video intensive applications like streaming or gaming or cloud gaming and stuff like that. So we basically detect the traffic, and for the traffic that needs more bandwidth, we provide more bandwidth, and for the traffic that doesn't need much, we take some bandwidth away, or we try to distribute the bandwidth as required. And it also there is also application parental control, where if you have some kind of setting that says, okay, this traffic shouldn't be allowed for this particular family member, so we can see if this traffic is is going on right now, and then that can be disabled. So that those are all the kinds of applications that you can use this particular application for.
Thank you. I thought that's what it was, but I just wanted to ask some clarifying questions just to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Thank you for coming off mute for your question. If we could take another question in the chat or coming off mute.
Okay, I think it's my turn. I'll go ahead and turn on my video.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel. Nice to meet y'all. I appreciate y'all taking the time. But my question is just a little bit more general, more about the internship program. I know you mentioned that we get assigned a manager and a mentor. And so I was just wondering more about how was y'all's relationship with the mentor and the manager? And just to know more about how was your learning experience with them? Was it something that was just like an instant connection, or was it, how did you approach them on, all sorts of that stuff?
So, hey, thanks for coming off mute and asking the question there. So really, with my 2 internship experiences, I had the same mentor each time, of course, and I'd say really just get to know them. Whenever you get stuck through, your initial tasks that your direct manager gives you, bounce them off of your mentor, ask them questions like, hey, how do we do this? How do we do that? I think another great way to get involved with the team and your mentor is maybe ask them out to lunch if you're in an in-person office. I know I did that, and it just instantly made the connection go a lot smoother. He's actually one of the closest people I am with on the team today, so it's a great opportunity to have a mentor and a manager on a team here. And then maybe I'd say just one final thing is to suggest to your manager maybe to tackle a project with your mentor. I know within the internship program, you work on a project with cross-functional teams and pitch that to leadership within the company and other people. But, a small project that could be tackled in a few weeks with your mentor could really build some hands-on experience and a connection overall. So
Just to add on to what Ben said, at Spectrum, most of the people are very approachable. So if you find certain people to be your mentor, you can always go and approach them and ask them, can they be your mentor? Can they help you? They will definitely take the time to guide you as well. Or you can reach out to your supervisor and ask them to introduce you to somebody, and then you can get introduced to the mentor as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I've been knocking through some of the questions and Q&A in the chat. So if I've answered your question, hopefully, if not, type in the chat so I can follow up with you as well. But just for a few questions before we jump into Tim and Noah's question, we unfortunately are not able to hire any students that will require sponsorship now or in the future for our corporate internship program. That's part of our eligibility requirements. We do not offer a housing stipend or compensation for relocation as well. So unfortunately, that would not be an option for our corporate internship program. Full-time may be a completely different situation. That's usually on a case-by-case basis. Tim actually has a question, Tim James. This question is for every panelist. What's the greatest challenge you faced in your role and how did you overcome it? And I'd love for every panelist to answer that question, but Rocky, do you want to go ahead and take that question?
Yeah, I think I actually I moved from network operations to the product and technology organization back in 2016. It was I think it was very hard for me to switch context from being a day-to-day engineer, thinking about keeping a system alive. We have SLAs, we have uptimes that we have to commit, which that in turn reduces to customer impact. And then transitioning, that was my day-to-day, right, for about 5 to 6 years. And then transitioning over to the product organization where I had to think big picture, and lead a team, which was a completely different way of thinking that I needed to do within such a short time period. Now I knew that anything that was going to be rolled out had an impact, not just to my team, but to the product rollout, to the organization, and to Charter at itself. I did lean on a lot of mentors that had been doing this previously. I also had to read a lot to know what it was to lead a team. I started off with 3 people, and within the last 3 years, I've grown to 35. So I think every day, to me, it's a challenge because I have to keep myself on my toes, but keep myself studying and learning and being open-minded every single day to be a better person than I was yesterday. But I would say that was my hardest switch, going from an engineer to a management position.
All right. And Shashi, I'd also like to gather your opinion on that one as well, if you can.
Yeah, on the similar notes, I have more than 25 years of experience, and most of my time I spent working as either as a developer or an architect. Coming over to operations was a biggest challenge because you had to be ready, you had to be available 24/7, and you don't know when to expect what. There is nothing you can plan for. Anything, anytime can go wrong, right? So that was the biggest challenge I had. But then once I got in here and understood, what can we do to be prepared? How can we implement processes that can help us not to be, working 24/7? That helped out really well. So even today, as Rocky mentioned, I face different challenges every day, but, connecting and partnering with all the organizations within Charter has really helped me to overcome those.
Okay. I believe that's probably the most amount of time that we're having for answering questions in our Q&A section. So I think we are good to wrap it up here if we can. So panelists, thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you had a great time conversing with each other and answering my questions, even though they were a bit awkward, but having fun. I think this was fun. I think this was good. A new year to get these opportunities out, to get these introductions as well. Follow up with us as well if you have any questions. Send us a connection on LinkedIn. Let me know if you're interested in applying for internship roles, if there's any other questions that we can follow up and answer for you. But honestly, the last thing I can ask of you is just to honestly have a good night tonight, have a good evening, get some rest, relax, pizza, TV, I don't know, go have a good time. Just know that your internet service is getting quicker because of us. So you can thank us, but I'm just kidding. Panelists, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you all have a great evening as well. Brandon, thank you very much for hosting us for this Way Up event. And we hope to partner again with you in the future. But if you are interested in applying for internship roles, please visit jobs.spectrum.com. Email us at university@charter.com or visit jobs.spectrum.com/university-and-early-career. All right, everybody, have a great night.